God damn it, really?
Hey, everybody, welcome to I'm Okay, You're Okay. I'm not okay. You're not okay. With me, Bob Schneider, and your other host, Clint Wells. You're welcome. We were talking about Metallica, James Hetfield, and I guess some stuff's going on with him, his exes.
So he got divorced maybe a year ago. And because of the nature of them being a very popular band, we know a lot about his life, even though he's very private. And he's got some very public struggles with addiction. He's been to rehab a couple times. He was sober for like 16 years and then relapsed. And said publicly that his wife, his ex-wife now, was the one who kept his family. You know, behind every man, there's a great woman. We all know that. Certainly true in my case. And kind of out of the blue about a year ago, they split. They just split up, and it was like marriage over. And their kids are grown. I think that happens a lot. You get the kids all out, and then you have to face your partner after 20 years of child raising, and you're like, oh yeah, I don't think I can do this anymore. So he's been dating this woman, and they got engaged. He posted this cute picture. They were like swimming with sharks or whales or some shit. And it's them underwater, and it's him saying, "Will you marry me?" And they posted that online. Well, his ex-wife responded to it and basically was like, well, I hate that I had to learn this on social media, and I guess the silent fuck you just keeps continuing. And someone wrote to her and said, "Oh, you're bitter or whatever." And she was like, "I'm not bitter. I no longer have the desire to protect this man. All I care about is my kids." Because apparently one of his kids is pretty outspoken about him being a shithead too. And it just kicks up all this unpleasant dust. And I was saying in the Secret Weekly that, yeah, he's a trouble guy. I mean, you don't write The Unforgiven without being a trouble guy. And that's what you were going to start talking about because you're an interesting guy. You had an interesting childhood. Look at the body of work you made. I think the hope, though, is that at some point you deal with yourself to where you can get to a point where you don't need to be fucked up to write that anymore. You get so good at writing. You develop this craft and this muscle where you're not just shoveling the coal of your neurosis into the engine room anymore. You can't do that forever, right?
I mean, look, to get good at art, you have to have time to do it. Now, if you're good at being a human being, if you know how to be a human being, if you're comfortable around other human beings, guess what you do? You enjoy your life. You go out, you play, you have fun, and
you do a little dance, you make a little love, you get down tonight.
You get down tonight. You go home and your mom says, "I love you," and you're a good boy. And your dad says, "I'm proud of you and I love you." Now, those people, bless them. They have a wonderful life. They live. They don't make a big splash. They're there in the shallow, safe end of the pool. They go through life, and then they have other little kids, and they teach them to stay in the shallow end of the pool, and everything's good. But you get people who don't know how to be human beings because maybe daddy went out for some smokes and never came home. Maybe mama went out for some smokes and never came home. Maybe daddy was raised by a goddamn demon and he doesn't know how to doesn't know how to say "I love you" to his boy or cry or be whatever the fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those people don't know how to be humans. So then they go, well, what do I do? Because life's terrifying. I have no home where I'm loved. I go out into the world and the world is chaotic and crazy. Oh, look at this guitar. Maybe I can find some solace in this guitar, or maybe I can take this blank page and make it my world. And that's how you become really good. And then at some point, you come across this magic elixir called alcohol, and it takes all that anxiety away. And you're like, oh, I finally found the solution to my problem. This existential dread of being alive. This alcohol works. And, if it works, what about this other thing, heroin or whatever, And if you're an addict and an alcoholic like I am, you can't stop once you start. Once you start, you can't stop. And so, I get it. And then James Hetfield, the other thing too, that once you stop drinking, when I stopped drinking, I needed something to stop the anxiety. So I became a workaholic. I tried to have sex as often as I could for a while when I was single. Now I eat and I play solitaire. I'm doing something to turn off my brain. I have to dissociate because I have a worst case scenario brain. I'm sure James Hetfield has a worst case scenario brain, and nothing turns that off quicker than falling in love with somebody. And maybe it's a person that you just met a minute ago, or maybe it's somebody that you're falling in love with over the course of a couple of years. And that sounds like what's going on with this lady.
Well, she seems real nice. I mean, from afar, but his ex-wife basically was like, it's a shame that God, she phrased it, women can just be so brutal. She framed it like, and of course, like all the like media outlets are picking it up, which I'm sure just drives him nuts. But she's like, it's a shame that he chose to destroy his family just to be surrounded by enablers. And so some fan wrote something like, well, he's sober. What do you mean enablers? And she said, well, his other addictions have never been made public. She said that publicly. That's a scorned lady.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it makes me feel bad for her. It makes me feel bad for him. It makes me feel bad for the kids. It's just, that's gnarly stuff, dude.
It's gnarly stuff. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Here's, yeah. They were married for 25 years, that's a long time to be married to somebody.
Absolutely. And they raised 3 kids together.
Yeah.
And she stuck through him through a lot of tough stuff, like him getting, I don't know if you ever saw that movie that they put out, like called Some Kind of Monster.
I saw it.
She was with him through all that.
Yeah. I mean, here's what she's not going to have to worry about. Working as a bagging, she's not going to have to bag groceries at the H-E-B when she's 65.
Right.
So, hey, lady, be thankful.
Yeah.
Be thankful. Here's the thing. You can be thankful for the things you have, or you can just be mad at all the things you don't have. The things you don't have are not going to make you happy. All the things you have should make you happy, and they don't. So you think because I don't have this other thing, that's the thing that's going to make me happy. The problem is you will get that thing and it will still not make you happy.
I agree. And speaking of that, one of the things that makes me happy is we have new patrons that I would like to say thank you to. Thank you to Alan McCarthy. Thank you to Lars, just Lars. Perhaps it's Lars Ulrich, drummer for Metallica. And thank you to Stephanie Smith. These beautiful people have decided to support the podcast. And to them, I say thank you.
What if Paul McCartney joined the Patreon and started giving us $1 million?
He just somehow heard one of our episodes, and then the Secret Weekly teaser was so titillating that he was like, I'm doing it. I'm throwing the credit card down, dude.
Man, how amazing would that be? And then all of a sudden you and me and Paul McCartney are best buds.
I do feel like I'll be in the real world and someone will be like, oh, I heard your podcast about whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, don't do that. Don't listen to my podcast, dude. Because God knows what we're saying. I mean, I tend to run on, like, I'm in the moment when we do this podcast. I do not know what we have said in any other podcast we've ever done. I have no idea. Hundreds of hours.
I mean, I know I've talked about having crab lice. I know I've talked about all kinds of stuff. So who knows what I haven't talked about. But here's the thing. Here's what I like. I like who I am. And I like the person that I am. And there's nothing that I'm worried about anybody finding out about what I'm doing now and what I've done in the past. Because the stuff I've done in the past that I regret doing, or that I realized was not a great thing to do, I don't do it anymore. If I was still doing the things that I didn't like, back in the day, I was being very deceitful.
Well, yeah, if you don't lie, if you decided not to lie, which I have decided that, you have decided that, you don't have to worry about anything you've said. You don't have to remember. No. I don't have to remember anything I've said.
You don't have to remember shit. You just have to remember what is. And that's kind of where I'm at in my life now, dude. But there was a time when I was in a relationship And I was seeing other people during that relationship, and I had to like worry like every time my phone rang,
Ugh,
like I was
awful.
going to be caught. Dude, those were not good times for me. I was very miserable is probably too hard of a word, but I was unhappy. I kept looking at my life going, I should be happy. Like I have everything I want right now in my life, and I'm not happy. And the reason was because I was being disgenuine in a lot of my relationships, a lot of my
Yeah.
personal relationships. And I just don't do that anymore. I'm just like, hey, this is who I am. I don't like it. It's not like I'm like, oh, this is who I am and how great am I? I mean, I definitely feel like the fucking hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm like walking around going, don't look at me. I'm a monster.
Um,
But I'm not trying to hide that. I am a little bit by wearing all black, but you know what I'm saying.
well, and you're not a monster.
I'm not a monster. It took me a long time to figure out that I'm not a monster.
It's tough because there's a story you tell yourself your whole life, and you have to undo some of that. Let me read some of these emails we've gotten. First of all, several people want this Gaffney plumbing shirt. Stacy Sutton says, yes, I would buy IOK merch, would love a Gaffney plumbing shirt. Christopher Pixley says, my pipes are a humming for a Gaffney plumbing shirt. He said, I would also take a trucker hat. And then the guy who wore the shirt, Bob, wrote in, John Smiley. Hey guys, it's John Smiley of the Smiley Brothers, Bob and Clint Fan Society. I'm the one who had the plumbing tee in San Antonio. I attached the artwork if you would like to use it. No sweat either way, but you're more than welcome to it. Peace,
Oh,
John.
nice.
So we have
Well,
I know you developed one, but we have the one that he wore, and it looks good.
I like the one he did, and so maybe we'll make it available. I did do a variation of it, but I used his as inspiration because it was a great T-shirt.
Yeah. Thank you, John. That's really cool, man. Someone wrote in, you remember we were talking about, God, I can't remember what we were talking about. Maybe I'm going to read the email, and then this is from patron Trey Brown. And then maybe you'll remember what he's talking about. He said, my ex-wife talked to her ex-boyfriend on the phone all the time because they were old friends. Guess who had an affair? He wrote, come on, eligible single dudes cannot be trusted with your lady. What were we talking about? Where someone was like hanging out. They had a friend who was opposite
Dude,
sex, and God, what was that? Remember we were talking about this a few weeks ago.
I mean, dude, here's what I know. Here's what I know about dudes. They want to fuck. So if they're into ladies, they want to fuck ladies. If they're into dudes, they want to fuck dudes. If they're into something else, that's what they want to fuck. But this whole idea of like, oh, it's my friend, nah, bruh.
No.
But I get it. I do have some really close female friends, but guess what? I had sex with them. You know what I mean? I had sex with them.
I thought you were going to say, but guess what?
No.
Guess what? I have boundaries. Or guess what? We only have lunch in public places. You were like, guess what? I had sex with them.
Yeah, I did. And that's why we're friends now. Had we not had sex, I don't know if I could be friends. I don't know. Again, I do have some friends that aren't close friends. Dare I say acquaintances. I have acquaintances that are female. I have no desire to be with these women and I enjoy their company, but they're not the people I call. They're not the people I feel very close to. I have some very close girlfriends who I don't talk to very often because it's not cool. If you're married and you're having deep philosophical conversations with people from your past or whatever, you can do it occasionally. But if that's a regular thing, you got to check that shit.
I think that's
a
really
relationship.
that's really bad news. You really shouldn't do it. It
No.
took me. I had to really learn the hard way that kind of connection with other human beings is just too gnarly when you were trying to protect a family. It just is,
Yeah.
dude. It's classic playing with fire. You just cannot do it, dude.
No. So I do have some close friends that I've slept with that are women. I do have some acquaintances that are women, but I do not have all of my closest friends are male who I don't want to have sex with.
Right.
I was at the Saxon pub and so I've been listening to this comedian, Geoffrey Asmus. Do you know that guy?
I think you sent it to me, and
Geoffrey Asmus.
I think you sent it to me, and I checked it out, and I liked it.
He's fantastic. He's a very smart guy. He's a nerd. He was obviously very Christian at some point, probably growing up.
Yeah, he does a lot
I'm
of
sure his family
religious.
still is.
He does a lot of religious humor.
Yeah, he knows a lot about history. He's very smart. His crowd work is incredible. All of his humor is based on the idea that what he's saying is crazy, and you're watching a comedian, so you understand that you're watching a comedian. His job is to make you laugh, but I'm very influenced by him now, and I will use sort of his strategy when I'm on stage. But the thing is, when I'm on stage, I'm selling these songs and making them seem very legit. And some of them are very sad and heavy, like Montgomery is a prime example of a song that's like, when I perform that properly, people are like, Jesus Christ, dude, that's a heavy song. Then I'll say something right afterwards, and I'll say it kind of with the same tone, but I'm saying something very ridiculous. And then people will think I'm being serious, but obviously I'm not being serious. So it's complicated. You have to be smart. To come to a Bob Schneider show now, at this point, you have to be pretty smart.
Otherwise, what do you think the average person's takeaway who's like, oh, I love Metal and Steel, and I love Let the Light In, and they don't know anything else about you? What is that? And they go to a Saxon pub show of all shows.
Oh, I mention it all the time I say that all the time on stage now. I'm like, I just mentioned like, oh, that was for the person who came here because they heard Peaches on Spotify and was like, oh, let me go check. Like if I get into a bunch of dick stuff,
yeah,
I'll mention it right afterwards.
Yeah.
Obviously, I want to entertain everybody there. But the barometer that I'm using on stage is not like, what do I think this audience is going to like? It's always, what do I think is funny? What do I think is interesting? And that's what I'm going to do on stage.
Yeah. I mean, I tell anyone who's like, I'll get people on my other podcasts who know that we do this one, or people who listen. I'm like, oh, Bob's playing at City Winery or whatever. I'm always like, you have to go see it. You have to go see the show. Last time you played at City Winery, me and Isabel were there, and I was getting a kick out of looking at like the audience members just having to deal with some of the shit you were saying and doing. Because it is kind of challenging in a good way. Like it's, I don't know. It's a challenging show in a way.
I mean, I'm used to it, so I know what I'm going to say most of the time. I mean, I do get on some riffs sometimes where I'm like, as soon as I say something on stage, I'm like, oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. But again, if I think it's going to be funny, I'll say it. But I'm telling you, I say this all the time. The last thing I want to do is upset anybody.
Yeah.
That's not my job. My job is to entertain people, to give them a break from the world. That's all I want to do. It's my main goal.
I remember doing a Saxon gig, and I don't know what this particular set of circumstances were, but me and Rachel were both sitting in. I don't know why I don't know what it was, but no Bruce, and I was playing on the side where Danny or where Ollie was for some reason. So me and Rachel were side by side, and I think Oliver was there because you and him got into this riff of like maniacal laughter that just, it went on for so long. Oh, I remember what I was doing in town. I was playing with a guy named Sean McConnell, and we were playing in Austin. We had a night off on a Monday. So you were like, come up and play, and I had all my gear. So Sean McConnell and our whole band that we were on tour with, they're in one of the booths. And I think you just happened to have Rachel playing, and me and Rachel are friends. So it was a fun night. It was an unusual Saxon, but you and Ollie got into this my friend thing. My friend.
Oh, yeah.
And then that turned into this like really long maniacal laughter, and it went through a couple of waves of the crowd going ape shit and then kind of dying down because it was going on for so long. Then it got ramped back up into a frenzy. And I remember me and Rachel just looking at each other because we were on stage. And I wish I could do the Conrad Chacroon thing where he'll be in that character. Because part of the character is if the band's being straight, it's even funnier.
Yeah.
But we were just totally breaking that. And I mean, I was laughing so hard on stage that I was crying.
Well, I will say,
and you got to think about the people that's their first Bob Schneider show.
Yeah. Well, pre-pandemic, there was a lot of sort of Andy Kaufman stuff on Monday nights.
Yes.
There was some like, what are you guys doing here interrupting our rehearsal space? And there was some audience punishment sometimes.
Oh yeah.
That we would put people through. And I'm telling you, since the pandemic, I just stopped doing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, people's time's too valuable. Like, before the pandemic, I was just like, hey man, you want to waste an hour and a half? I think we were doing 2 hours too, 8:30 to 10:30.
Yes.
That stopped. It's now 8:30 to maybe 10, like with an encore. So, but now I'm just like, no, it's too, I've got so much less time left on the earth. I'm going to make sure that people feel okay about having, and I'm just not going to punish anybody for being here. So I do feel like we didn't do it all the time. I will say this, the people that came to every show lived for that
Oh
shit.
yeah, for sure. Well, I would have been one of those people too. It's like, if I were to get a more straight show, I probably would have been in a certain way, not really, but maybe even a little disappointed. But
yeah,
I mean, I remember one time someone said we were too loud, and we did like 30 minutes at whisper volume.
Dude, that you're too loud. It's still, I don't know exactly what we did, but we were just like, oh yeah,
we were doing a James Brown song, and we were doing and you were doing like, take it to the bridge.
No, take it to the bridge.
And then another time,
dude, we did that for 15 minutes.
No,
that wasn't like 2 minutes.
No, it was long.
Like 2 minutes would have been like, okay. And 5 minutes would have been okay. Dude, we did it for 15.
A fan. We ended the show that way. I think it was like 30, and a fan, because you spill out of the Saxon, and then you were kind of waiting. I think maybe you'd gone to your car, and I had to pack my gear up. And a fan confronted me about it. I was like, "What the fuck was that? You guys did that for 30 minutes?" And I was like,
"It was so long."
I was like,
"It wasn't." I guarantee you, it wasn't 30, but it seemed like 30 for sure.
It was definitely
15 minutes of a bit is a long bit.
Well, then another time. And, I think this is when I was touring you a lot. So I was very in tune with you. And another time, someone requested the song, like Big Green Sea.
No, they do Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. And then you go, okay. Immediately you took the request. But I knew that they said the wrong song. And I knew that you were going to play a new song that you were going to make up called Deep Blue Sea. And you did.
About the movie about the sharks called Deep Blue Sea.
I mean, there's so much shit like that I really loved. Dude, remember when you did the 12-hour Saxon show?
Oh yeah.
We watched quite a bit of it.
Much.
We watched quite a bit of it on our TV.
I'll tell you that was a show that kind of broke me a little bit. I was looking through the Guinness Book of World Records and found that the longest show anybody had ever done was 30 hours. And I was like, I think I could do 30 hours and be in the Guinness Book of World Records. And then right before I was about to do it, or at least contact Guinness, because you got to contact them, somebody did 48 hours in Germany. Somebody played the piano for 48 hours straight. I'm like, well, I'm not going to do 48 hours. That's too much. So then I was like, well, why don't I do 24 hours of original music? Nobody's ever played for 24 hours playing only original music that they wrote. Nobody's ever done it. I contact Guinness Book of World Records and they're like, we can't verify whether all your material's original. So we can only do length. We can't do.
How did that just real quick? I'm just curious. How did that correspondence go? Was that like an email or a phone call, or what was that?
An email. I just emailed them, and then they emailed me back. Like after a few weeks, it wasn't quickly either. It was like, "Hey, we looked at your thing." And they must get them all the time.
Yeah,
we looked at your thing. We can't verify that it's original material, so we can only do length. Sorry. And then I was like, well, fuck. If I can't get in the Guinness Book of World Records, let me just do some period of time that I don't know anybody that's ever played that long. I think Steve Poltz did a 6-hour gig one time. I'm like, I'll double that. I'll do 12 hours and I'll take a 10-minute break every 2 hours. So really I'm only playing 11 hours over the course of 12 hours. And I did it, and it was too much. It's too long.
Were all the shows well attended?
They were.
Because you basically did.
I played
2-hour shows.
I did from noon to midnight, and you could buy 2-hour blocks, or you could buy the whole 12-hour show. There were a few people that did the whole 12 hours.
Wow.
Most people did 2 hours at a time, or they do two-hour shows. And I just started at noon, and then I ended at midnight. And every at an hour and 50 minutes, I would set up a loop. And that would give me time. And the music would never stop. So I would set up the loop, then I'd go to the bathroom, drink some water, have a bite to eat, come back on stage and start again at the top of the hour. And the crazy thing is it's only like 200 songs.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I've got 2,000. So it was all like hits. You know what I mean? There weren't it wasn't a lot of filler.
You didn't have to go deep in the catalog.
I didn't have to play a bunch of bullshit songs.
Right.
I can play for 12 hours and play pretty, at this point especially. I mean, that was 10 years ago, or 8 years ago, however long ago it was. I've got way more songs now.
I mean, we were still living in East Nashville. So that, I mean, Jesus, we lived in Donaldson for 6 years. And now we've been in our new place for 3 years. So that was at least 9 years ago.
Dude, how crazy is time? It's so weird.
I just did I'll make this quick because we got to skedaddle out of here into the Secret Weekly, but I just did a pickup gig I've kind of been out of this game for a while, but I got this hip East Nashville artist. You know, she's awesome, but she's not on a major label and she's playing small clubs. And anyway, she got my number. I don't get these calls much because I'm gone a lot. And anyway, I took the gig and learned her set and went to the rehearsal, did the gig, and it was so fascinating. I ran into so many people that I felt like were from my old life. All these East Nashville people, they're all in their 40s now. Very few of them had children. It was interesting because they're all kind of doing the same thing. And so if I felt like I walked into a time machine, I had a great night. I had an awesome night. It was at this cool bar in East Nashville, seeing so many old friends playing that music that was exciting and, just all the hipsters and shit. But it did make me feel weird about time. Because people are like, what have you been up to? And I'm like, dude, I got an 11-year-old who's a cheerleader, a 6th grader. And it was blowing, I'm showing them it's blowing their mind. It's just, I don't know, man. Time is so weird. It really is going by so fast. I'm not articulating that very well, but.
Well, the thing about time is when you're in it, it's just, it's the same. It's the same as it's ever been. The problem is when you look back, you're not seeing 10 years. You're not seeing 20 years. You're not seeing 30 years. You're seeing 40 years. And that 40 years you're seeing it all in one look. So it's one thing to be looking back and it's 5 years of lots of stuff, that seems like a lot. But when you're looking at 40 years and you can see it all in the same picture, I don't know. The best way I think to describe life for me is I'm climbing a wall, climbing like a mountain or something, and it's steep. And so I'm just looking at the wall in front of me and I'm climbing very carefully. But every once in a while, I turn around and look and I go, oh shit, I'm 1,000 feet up right now. I didn't realize I was 1,000 feet up. I thought I was like 100 feet up or 50 feet up.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary when you look down and you see all that time that's happened.
Totally. Don't look down.
Dude, don't look down.
Don't
look at your solitaire. Look at your iPad where the solitaire is.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's just get that AGI and that ASI come save us from ourselves. All right, we got to go. It's fun. Write in bobandclint@gmail.com. Support the show on Patreon. You can go to Now This Year Weekly, where I'm going to tell Bob about picking my friend up who had a colonoscopy.
Oh, nice. Nothing like poop talk.
All right, we'll see you guys in the Secret Weekly. Peace.